Bringing digital to the boardroom, the final organizational frontier. Hi, I'm Tanya Hall for ZDNet, and joining me is Andrew Grill. He's a practical futurist. Welcome, Andrew.
Hi, Tonya. Great to see you again. It's been a while.
It has too long. You've been doing a lot, speaking a lot about the future of digital transformation, the future of business and technology. But your title is practical futurist, and we've talked to futurists before. What is a practical futurist?
Well, I did that deliberately. I know a lot of futurists and they say wonderful things, but they seem to talk too far into the distance. Famously, Arthur C. Clarke was asked in 1974 by an Australian journalist what the world would be like in 2001, and he got it dead right, except for predicting the iPhone 10. But a lot of my clients and people I present to haven't got 20 or 30 years to wait. They want to know next month, next quarter, what they should be thinking about. And so a practical futurist leaves people to do things next week that they can do, and it's easy. And so I find by being a practical futurist, I give really practical advice to some of my clients' hardest questions.
So a big challenge right now is for the C-suite executives and how to actually put together the senior team or even the board. How do companies bridge the divide between digital natives as upper and middle management and board members and even major shareholders?
Well, I think in every company, there are actually two tribes. There are the born digital, those born with an iPhone in their mouth that play with digital all the time, but they're not as experienced in influencing at the upper levels and don't know what it's like to run a company. And then there's the going digital. And a lot of companies I talk to, that's what they have. They got people that are very experienced. They know how to influence the top levels, know how to get things done, but they don't understand the digital concepts. And I think what's happening is technology is moving ahead so quickly that executives can't keep up with what they need to know. I don't expect executives or the board or the C-suite to be digital experts, but they need to know whether they're being sold the wrong technology or being asked to invest in things they shouldn't or don't need to. So I like the concept of digital diversity on the board. I'm all for gender diversity and other forms of diversity to make up a board so you have better quality decisions that are being discussed. But digital diversity means you have one or two people that could easily sit on a board. They know how to run meetings, they know about governance and finance, but they are really able to see things through a digital lens. The example I use is that a lot of companies I speak with, they go and do a West Coast study tour, they go and visit Facebook and Google and Amazon, and they come back and they say, yeah, we're going to be a digital company. But what happens is the next board meeting, it's back to usual, and all the problems that they're facing, they have to go over. Having people on the board that are digital natives and also can see things through the digital lens, they will ensure that the board is translating what they're being told to invest in or areas they need to go into. And I think to deflect the threat of digital disruption, boards need to have the ability to basically go and say, well, what's happening out there to our company? How do we change? How do we disrupt ourselves? But they can't do that unless they have someone who is a co-pilot to help translate that into a language that they understand.
You know, one of the biggest problems I think I've seen certainly with a C-level executive is, or even a board member that's maybe themselves not digitally inept, maybe they don't understand technology themselves, so they have a hard time finding the right person because somebody speaks the speak, they talk the talk, and they think, oh, well, they probably know what they're talking about. What would you advise a board member or a C-level executive who's trying to find that help in a candidate to come in and run their company to really know the qualifications that actually will help benefit them?
Yeah, I think you can have any sort of qualification. I've got an engineering degree, so I kind of know the art of the possible. But it's, can you actually act in real time to understand what the needs of the company and the shareholders and the employees and consumers are with what technology is available? So it's not just knowing all about blockchain or all about IoT. It's, can you actually make that work inside the organization? Because organizations that need to change, that are being disrupted, it's also about culture. It's not just about technology. And so you can have a great technologist, but he or she may not be able to change the culture. And whenever people say, you know, what do we do in terms of defending digital disruption, you've got to start at the top. And so the board, the C-suite needs to be open to new things. But to your point, how do you qualify these people? Are they an all-rounder? Will they work in an organization even without the technology skills they have, rather than being too techy and not being able to translate and move the company? Because it's like open heart surgery. The patient's still alive, and you have to make drastic changes to your company to survive.
You know, a lot of times, C-level executives look at young people and assume that a millennial or a young person is going to be the one that understands. And many times that is the case. But I think you also have millennials or young people who are trying to push a message upwards, who are trying to convince maybe somebody on the senior team that they know where the company should take their business. So I guess, what advice would you give to a younger professional about speaking to upper management or selling a concept that might be foreign to them?
Yeah. So I think, first of all, that they have to appreciate that this senior management level, sometimes they don't understand what they're being told. And so it takes a bit of humility. I think also social proof that if other people outside the organization are listening to what this person is saying and they're amplifying that message and responding, and if they're writing a post on LinkedIn, people are commenting on that, they can see, what effect they're going to have. So for young people, it's very hard to be, a lone voice and in a large company and not being able to get to the top of the tree. I always talk about influencing the influencers. So how can you, as a young, person who is very, very active and wants to make the leap into upper management, how do they get noticed? And so they're probably not going to get into the CEO's diary day one. But if they're out proving what they know on social networks, they're talking to customers, they're doing their research, they'll get noticed by different methods. 15 years ago, you would have to have set a meeting with the CEO to meet him or her. Now, the CEO can say, I keep reading about what Tanya's saying about this new technology. We need to have a chat to her. And she's on our staff. Wow. We need to harness what she's saying. So I think they can stand out. But in this digital world, you need to try all the different techniques that are available to you.
Andrew, we offer a lot of information and help here on ZDNet and Tech Republic, on CBS Interactive in general, about digital transformation and what businesses are doing to help them keep up to speed. But what other types of advice, maybe training materials, are available to people or board members that could help them understand the big issues regarding digital disruption?
I'd like to break it down to be really simple. I think to get digital, you've got to be digital. And so when you read about a new platform or a new service, I encourage executives to play with it. Go and sign up to the service. Go and see what Twitter's about. Go and buy an IoT starter kit. Go and buy some cryptocurrency to understand what it's about. Because I think at that senior level, they've been in business for so long, they have so many things thrown at them. When they personally understand how the technology works, they then go, aha, that's how it can actually help our company or our customers. And when I suggest that, it's low touch. So I'm not asking them to go and do a university course or do lots of tutorials. It's taking it apart to see how it works. And I often put up what I call the scary slide when I talk to large audiences, and it has a whole lot of buzzwords that go onto the screen. And there are 20 or 30, and I deliberately pick ones that are obscure, but will impact that company within the next 2 years. And I say, look, I don't want a show of hands that you do or don't know what these words mean. But tonight, go to Wikipedia, go online, understand what these terminologies mean, and then go and do some research, find out how they're going to impact your company. And I think executives that do that and have the personal approach and actually want to understand and pick it apart to see how it works, they're more likely to get it earlier because they have the aha moment.
The aha moment. Well, you certainly help educate people yourself, and I want to thank you for joining us to give us a little bit of insight at what C-level and board members need to do. If somebody wants to follow you, maybe they want to hire you or find out more about what you do, how can they do that, Andrew?
I'm at Andrew Grill on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn as the same. And just remember, I'm in London and my name is Andrew, so go to andrew.london.
Andrew.London. Thanks again for joining. And if you want to follow me in more of my interviews, you can do that right here on ZDNet or Tech Republic, or maybe find me on Twitter. I love to tweet at Tanya Hall Radio, or find me on Facebook by going to the Tanya Hall Show. Thanks again, and until next time.